Sup, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so this, talking about meta, and honestly, I'm not the best person to come to talk about meta, but I do think that I'm fairly good at assessing situations when it comes to communities' reactions. All right, because I feel like most content creators, they stay in their corner. It's not that they cannot leave it. It doesn't benefit them, right? Usually challenging other people's takes and thoughts oftentimes means starting shit, right? It means like people are gonna be like, oh my god, this person disagrees with that person. He must hate him. He must hate his ass. He must not like this person. Then they go to their stream and be like, yo, did you hear what X person said about you? Not about what X person said about your take. It's just you, right? They make it personal. So that's why most content creators, they don't bother. It's like, why bother? So nobody talks about it. And when nobody talks about it, it's extremely boring because everybody's just dancing around eggshells, right? Be like, oh, okay. And we all know people never can agree on who's the best character, what's the best way to play the game. Oh, sorry, guys. Forgot to... I keep forgetting to... There we go. I keep forgetting to change the scene when I start talking, and I just... So, yeah. So people never talk about it. Then these kind of stuff just gets brushed under the rug, and casual players thinks that people who talks about meta are cringe. People who cares about the meta are cringe. Oh my goodness, it's so dry. I got like nose flakes like dancing around the tip of my nose in my field of view. So yeah, that's why people never talk about it. It's not fun. Like people think like, oh, why should I care, right? The game was not designed to be oh, by the way, people, look, I'm making huge progress in my BP level. Yeah, I'm making huge gains. Level 4, I must be way ahead of everybody by now. Yeah, oh my god, look at that. Look at that value. Last time I think I made it to level 9. So let's see if this patch I can make it past that. Alright. So, okay, today we're gonna be talking about a little bit about the meta. I don't want to like have this whole thing devolve into like a whole cesspool of people just pulling out spreadsheets up there, like pulling out spreadsheets from their asses and be like, oh my god, but check this out, data says this. We don't need to be that meticulous, but we do need to talk a little bit about meta playstyles and whatnot. And there's a phenomenon that I actually do want to share with you guys when it comes to how Hoyoverse tends to develop metas. Yes, I say Hoyoverse develop metas, not theory crafters, because at the end of the day, Hoyoverse is the ones who designs these characters. They come up with the kits, and they are the ones who set limits. I think it's very, very rare that we discover something that Hoyoverse overlooks. I think that's like, in my honest opinion, that has happened once. In the history of Genshin, that has only ever happened once. And I'm sure you guys know that was I believe Morgana was a mistake that Hoyoverse never intended for. Because the amount of effort that Hoyoverse had to take to cover up for like how utterly broken Morgana comp was, it just shows that they were like, oh damn it, we didn't foresee that. Right? So I think from that point onward, there has never been an instance of a character becoming meta that Hoyoverse was like, oh, we didn't see that one coming. I think they knew all of it. It's yeah. Let's talk about how Hoyoverse develops metas. Debayan Mando, my man, welcome back to the Tusgang. Okay. So, in order to start talking about this, we need to take a look at the characters. Is this release? This is like okay. I have all the characters ordered from a date of release. Well, actually, it's a date that I got them, but it's because I got every single character on their original banners. So this is indicative of the date they were released, I believe. Right? Right. I'm right? Yeah, Venti, Klee, Diona, Tartaglia, Jinyan. Yeah. This is the exact like order at which I think these characters were released. I think some orders are mixed up because I got the Goro before Ito because I think yeah, on 12/14, 12/14. But yeah, okay. So this is great. Sorry, chat. I know I just got you guys on screen, but I'm gonna have to take you guys out a little bit here. I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'm gonna take myself off here a little bit as well. Actually, you know what? I'll move myself. Chat. I feel bad. I do feel bad for you guys. Sometimes, you know, I just want everybody to be included. Let's move you guys over here. How's that? Sounds fair? Sounds fair. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so let's look at the most recent few like air quote meta characters, meaning like they are at the top of the game, meaning that they output the most damage, right? Or people or like characters that people lean towards consistently use in the Abyss, which is like the only thing we have to measure character efficiency, because I'm not gonna even bother to explain it. It's Nahida, all right? Obviously it's Nahida, and before that I think it was Yelan, right? So what is it about these two characters? What is it about these two characters that differs from the rest? Some would argue Nilou is also heavily utilized, but Nilou didn't really become like viable until Nahida came out. Fair? Well, I mean, she was viable, but she wasn't like broken until Nahida came out. So the two characters that came in and like changed things are Yelan and Nahida. Yelan not so much, but Nahida for sure. And one of the things that I've realized that characters that shares the like, oh my god, amazing, you know, like pull for them is that not only do they enable new things. Oh, it's dinner time as usual. Tonight we are having this, seems to be Japanese style curry with a drumstick. A chair? Oh, you want the chair? Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. So, where was I? Yes. So for these characters to be considered really good by the community and then instantly slotted into meta teams and just redefine certain play styles is the fact that not only do they have to introduce a new play style that is strong and consistent, right? Consistent, low effort as well. Like ideally low effort, strong and consistent, right? There are comps that are complex, difficult to play, requires multiple key pieces to work, not flexible when it comes to rotations, artifacts, and just dead set on that one. That's extremely niche teams, right? Like I remember the Poco, Moko, Momon, Jumanju comp with Kokomi was like you had to get even the character rotations down to like a specific rotation, and if you mess up a character's elemental skill and their burst skill, the whole thing messes up and it doesn't work anymore. Those comps, they can be strong, but very rarely, if ever, will they become meta or adapted by the masses, because nobody wants to put in that kind of effort. Like Genshin is not that hard of a game, and why would you ever do that to yourself unless you're into that kind of stuff, right? So Technovirus, exactly, most damage for least investment. That is what, like, that's the type of trend people always gravitate to for whatever is meta. And the key part is, yes, most damage for least investment, but also has a high-ish ceiling cap. That's the thing that players want. They like, nobody wants to pull a character and just to find out they have to pull another 5-star character to make this 5-star character work, right? Because Like that immediately makes you not like the character. Remember, how do I make this character work with the least investment? And people was like, oh, but like pulling another character isn't an investment. Yes, it is. Who the hell told you pulling another 5-star character is not an investment? That is huge. That's arguably the biggest investment. Like people was like, oh, farming artifacts, it's such a pain. That is nothing compared to having to pull for a whole entire new 5-star character. Right? So also ideally, free-to-play weapons. If you pull a character like Ayato, but you don't have like a decent 5-star sword to go with him, you have to run him with 4-star swords, he loses out. He loses out on quite a bit. Right? I'm not saying you have to get his weapon. I'm just saying a 5-star weapon with strong enough stats, with a substat that suits his playstyle. So, I'm just saying, right? A character like Nahida, a character like Yelan, who allows you to run 4-star weapons, who gives you access to strong compositions and uplifts old compositions at the same time, right? Same with Yelan. She gives you access to strong compositions and also gave a nice facelift to some old ones, freed up a slot for characters to be moved in and out of certain team comps. And with the Hydro Resonance, now she's even more amazing. So I'm not saying she's like on the same tier as Nikita. I'm just saying she was the previous character that did something of this magnitude, right? None of these characters did that. These characters, so let's go with Wanderer. This character came out, not only did he not redefine anything old, he didn't add anything to the game. Have you guys realized? That's why we like tend to give more praises to Fadozan. Like, even if you get constellations on Wanderer, he doesn't add anything to the game. Nothing. This man brings quite literally nothing. Fadozan does. Yeah, all he does is fly. Yeah, that's what people keep memeing. It's like, I pull Wanderer so I can fly. It's like, because apart from that, this man does nothing. He just does damage. It's very difficult for DPS characters to shine in this game. Very, very difficult. Because in order for you to shine, you have one job, DPS characters. You have one job. It is quite literally just to do damage. And if you can't fulfill that job, it doesn't matter if you can fly, if you can dive, if you can swim, if you can what the hell you can do. You can teleport through dimensions. Nobody cares. Because you can't fulfill the job you were given. I know this is very critical, and maybe these are words that are a little too harsh for the game of Genshin, but I'm just trying to make a point in that the reason people don't lean on a lot of these characters as crutches is because they don't redefine anything, nor do they bring things to old characters. So let's say Scaramouche came out, and he was what Fadozan does. Let's say C6 Fadozan is C0 Scaramouche. Let's just pretend C6 Fadozan is C0 Scaramouche and he can fly. Right? And now you pair Scaramouche with Zhao, with C6 Kazuha, with any Anemo DPS. Like maybe you can even have like double support Wanderer plus Venti. And then you throw that into a Zhao team, and suddenly Zhao becomes a hyper carry, and all future Anemo DPS characters like pretty much runs Wanderer. Yeah, then as a support character he has value, or as a DPS character, maybe like Zhao focuses on AoE, then make Wanderer like an insane single target unit. Just make him absolutely juiced to the teeth as a single target nuker. Like make his burst skill can do some AoE. Let's say his single auto attacks should scale. Like if you want him to be a DPS character worthy of the community getting excited for, make him scale up to like each auto attack, like his single attack should be like no more AoE, so he can't AoE anymore, and his AoE should only come from Fadozan. Lift up Fadozan's like off-field damage a little bit, scale her up, her collapse through C6. So basically you still have to get her to C6, but make her C6 be the one that brings the AoE to the table, meaning you're still relying on Fadozan in AoE situations, but single target no, don't eat my food. But single target wise, like Scaramouche by himself, let's say per auto attack, should be able to hit up to 60, 70, maybe even 80,000 per auto attack. With the speed, he's able to dish out insane single target damage, but relies on Faruzan as an AoE crutch in AoE situations, right? Where you have to fight AoE, or just play Zhao when you need to fight AoE, right? Still niche characters, but you can get excited for characters in very specific, unique niche playstyles. But the active decision to keep him as a mid DPS output unit who still relies on Faruzan's buffing and debuffing as a crutch, especially getting her to C6 to utilize more of his kit, is just absurd to me. It's just absurd to me. His multipliers is very mid. It's very mid. So it's like, but once Faruzan becomes C6 and can help group enemies, and then suddenly all his attacks starts to like hit multiple characters, hey, my man is starting to feel much, much better. Right? Much, much better. But I'm just saying, like, they could have made him a lot better as a single target attacker and give more power to Faruzan. But what that basically means is it puts even more emphasis on Faruzan than Wanderer. But right now, it's not like anybody's like selling a kidney to get Wanderer. Most people are saving for Raiden reruns. And why is that? Is it not because Raiden is a unit that redefines team comps and playstyles? Nope, nobody, nope, no says. I'm very tempted to blow money on C2 Raiden next banner. Am I crazy? Okay. You would know, if you watch my videos, you would know I'm like one of the biggest C2 Raiden simp. I was, though. It's still incredibly strong. Don't get me wrong. Okay? Still incredibly strong, this constellation. But because of the recent facelift they did for Raiden C0, with actually quite literally the comp I have on screen right now. I have a video scheduled to come out soon that talks about this, okay? And the video, you'll know inside out. It's like Raiden buffed. Because quite literally, this comp that I have on screen, it's a very strong and consistent comp that people can play for Raiden Shogun at C0 with. And you know what's crazy about it is you don't even need to use Raiden's burst. But Raiden C2 is still strong. However, with the introduction of Nahida and her kit, they've essentially eradicated one of Raiden's C0's biggest problems. And is the inability to utilize her entire kit to serve as a functioning like DPS. But with okay, I'm gonna show you guys one moment. One moment. No. Me talking never really seems to get the point across. So I'll just show you guys. Okay. So, oh, this one's the one with the hounds, right? The one with the hounds. So we're gonna go like this. Look how disgusting this this. All right, now I'm gonna eat some food because oh wait, I don't need to be doing anything. I'm just gonna eat some food while they do their thing. That's good stuff. Okay, I'm back. I'm dead. Oh, wait. Okay. But my point is, this is like, and listen, I'm not going to be using Raiden's burst. You don't need Raiden's burst. And honestly, I don't have her built properly for this comp, nor do I have like the damage properly optimized for this comp. And if you guys are curious about what the hell I'm talking about, just wait for my new video. My new video is coming out. Like, this team is just, it's disgusting, bro. Like, what the hell is this? Yes, I extended my jellyfish perfectly. What the what? It's literally just Nahida's E and Raiden's E. And yeah, I'm using Zhongli's burst, but like, come on, guys. Like, give credit when credit is due. Like, this is just... Like, honestly, you guys could do this much faster because I'm refusing to use Raiden's burst to prove a point. Because my Raiden's burst, like, my Raiden is C3, right? You guys will be like, Walrus, but it's because your Raiden is C3 that you can... No. it really isn't. Like, a C0 Raiden... Oh, my Raiden thing is gone. A C0 Raiden probably can do this faster than I'm doing it because you guys are going to be actually using her burst, which in turn will help other characters' burst come back. But you guys see like my point here. It's quite a disgusting way to play the game. Like, yeah, it basically removes all skill factor from the game. Like, you don't need skill. There's no requirement for skill. And that's what I'm talking about. These type of comps, people really enjoy playing. Nice gameplay. Thanks, Jason. but people really enjoy that kind of team comps. And also highlights how broken Archons are in this game. It is EM Raiden. My Raiden is not EM Raiden. If that were EM Raiden, and Nahida is using Gilded Dreams, maybe make Zhongli probably Zhongli, yeah. Run Deepwood. I know it's kind of a waste, but trust me, like, get Nahida running Gilded Dream, get Zhongli running Deepwood. This team is just gonna slap cheeks all day. But that's what I'm saying. C0 Raiden had an issue, and Hoyoverse essentially patched it. I don't know if it was intentional. I'm pretty sure it was. But I'm just saying, it's just like, before the introduction of Nahida's elemental skill into the game, Raiden C0, like Raiden's elemental skill, like, yeah, people used it, but mostly they used it to stack her, what's that? To get the stacks so she can burst harder, she can hit harder. Very, very few comps were able to fully utilize Raiden's elemental skill and her electrode application to its fullest potential, but Nahida changes that. Nahida is able to utilize it to its fullest potential and more. So I'm just saying, for people who want C2 Raiden, sure, just be very, very clear of why you're trying to get it. If you have C2 Raiden, I hope you have C6 Sara. Listen, because sure, the boost from C2 Raiden is good, but it's really only truly highlighted fully once you have C6 Sara because of that huge boost. I mean, it's still a good bit of a power spike, but it does not, like it wasn't necessary before, and nowadays it certainly doesn't feel as big of a highlight as it used to be. Even for me, who was advocating it left and right all day. Does it work with Fischl? Yeah, it can work with Fischl, but then Nahida has to be the on-field character, which she can be and she can do a lot if you run Gilded Dreams on her and make somebody else run Deepwood. Then Nahida is gonna be like hitting for huge damage on field. Okay, when I say huge, I don't mean like 200k. I'm just like, you know, like huge for spread and aggravate and quicken and all that stuff. C0 Raiden is really, really, really good now. It's basically what I'm saying. Raiden is the best option to run this comp. Other characters can make it work, make it work. Not like, it's not like it just doesn't work anymore. They could make it work, but it's just like you're missing something one way or another. How does Raiden C3 compare to others C6 DPS units? It depends on which C6 and in what conditions, right? If we look at Raiden's constellations, starting from C5, starting from C4, it doesn't really add damage to herself anymore. Her C4 and C6 are just utility constellations at this point. It's just all the damage has been front loaded to these two constellations. Raiden, when you just look at damage, of course she's not going to compare to a pure DPS unit. Why? It's because she has an immense amount of utility in her kit. She is the best universal battery in the game. We cannot take that away from her. So if we just look at her damage-wise, yes, she's going to fall even compared to someone like Yoimiya at C6. I mean, that's not fair. Yoimiya at C6 is just disgusting. Ito, okay, that's not fair. Ito at C6 is just another, Ganyu as, okay, no, maybe, I'm kidding. She keeps up with them. But if we're just talking about damage, of course she can't output the same amount of damage. Like Yelena C6, what even is this character at C6? Are we even playing the same game anymore at that point? But a character like Hu Tao at C6, right? Hu Tao C6, Raiden Shogun and Hu Tao C6, very similar characters in my opinion. Zhao C6 is very situational. I would say apart from the couple that I mentioned earlier. Maybe Ayaka C6 is also stronger. Yeah. So, but she definitely keeps up. And she spikes at C3 at the low cost of C2, actually. If you can get her to C2, you know, you're doing pretty good. So that's why, like, like if you're on a budget, you're like, oh, I can't afford a C6 Yoimiya, I can't afford a C6 Ganyu, you know, C6 Eula, whatever. Just get Raiden C2. You're getting you're getting similar amount of damage output. Of course, you have to hyper invest into her artifacts. Hopefully, you can get like her weapon. If not, it's fine. The catch is also really good weapon for Raiden, so you don't need to like lose sleep over her or anything. So that's why people love her, right? If you can handle the fishing. So still a good investment for a character if you don't have like any other good DPS characters to invest into a C2. You kind of have a pseudo C6 DPS in her C2. Kind of. Not really, but like, you know what I mean, right? I think she still has one of the better value for constellation investment. Let's say if you're like, I want constellations, I'm going to get constellations, but who should I get it for? Probably Raiden. Like that's a safe bet, is what I'm saying. Probably a very, very safe bet is to go with Raiden. Some other noticeable investment worthy low constellation investments. Let's see. Yeah, get Venti C1. No. Honestly, like, apart from Raiden, low constellation investment. Maybe Hu Tao C1 if you're like a huge Hu Tao player. It just saves you a lot of headache. Like if you're like, again, if you're a huge Ito player, get Ito to C2. Oh yeah, baby. That's also gonna be pretty good for you. Ganyu C1 is pretty good if you play her. Ganyu C1's pretty tight. Very nice. Yeah, apart from that, like there's no one else in the game that really has the like insane jump. Some would say Zhongli C2 is pretty worth. Like myself, who plays this game with my feet and turn my brain off when I play, Zhongli C2 is absolute lifesaver in some situations. The iframe with the burst plus the shield right afterwards. I mean, you tell me. You tell me. Try it and you tell me. But yeah, like very few characters in the game can rival this level of value. Because, I mean, do I really need to explain it? Do I need to explain it? Right? I think I've explained that. Even Nahida's constellations don't feel as impactful as Raiden's constellations. Like, it's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, these 5 stars constellations don't even feel worthwhile anymore. Which is another thing that is quite sad to think about, because for people who really enjoys these characters, a lot of times people are just looking forward to the next time they come back so they can start working on the characters vertically and get them better and stronger. But then they see like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter because there's something fundamental. It's more about the fundamental problems that exist in the character's kit than the lack of constellations. I think if they made characters C1, C2 kind of like more like Raiden's, yeah, it's gonna piss off some people, but at the same time, the simps are gonna have a field day because they're gonna be like, okay, so the character that I want to pull for is extremely good. I just need to save up next time they come back and maybe get a couple constellations. Or people who get extremely lucky get 2 copies of the character. Now they have a C1, which is very, very good, right? And then they get excited for that kind of stuff. Of course, it doesn't have to break the game every single time. Like, it doesn't have to be as impactful of a character as Raiden, but the constellations should give enough value so that every 5-star that comes out at C1, C2 gets a huge boost in their niche. And it keeps the Sims happy. People who skip characters are okay with it because they know for a fact when their character comes around, it's also going to have the same treatment. So it's like, it's fair for everybody. Mm. Is Nahida C2 worthwhile? That's a great question. Okay. All right. Okay. Listen. Here's the thing about Hoyoverse and meta. We're back to our topic now because we have to talk about C2 Nahida. Hoyoverse does not, like, this is a live service game. I'm sure you guys already know where I'm going with this. For the most part, when a new like thing comes out in the game, Hoyoverse takes their sweet ass time to develop it. Okay? Look at this constellation. Burning, Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon reaction damage they receive can restore crit rate and crit damage are fixed at 20 and 100%. There is like only one Burning and Burgeon team right now that's like good to play. Right? There's only one. Because This, like, a third of this thing, like, it doesn't even, like, it hasn't even come to fruition yet. Like, sure, like a Bloom, Hyperbloom, wow, amazing, but this thing is already scaling like absolute madness with Nilou. Even without it, even at C0, you're doing like, I'm not just saying you're doing good damage, you're like, oh, that's enough. No, you're doing quite excessive amounts of damage even with C0, with Nilou. It's excessive. It's not just like good. So sure, this is great to have. 20% crit rate, 100% crit damage. So 1/5 of the time, you're gonna double your damage, essentially, right? Like 20% of the time, you're gonna do double the damage. That's basically what this is saying. 20% of the time, you're gonna double your damage. And of course, this one is good, not amazing. It's not like ignore defense. It's just defense is decreased. Okay. So it's like you're just looking at this, and then when you play it, like you feel it. Like, yeah, you do feel it, but it doesn't give you that like wow factor. It doesn't give you that wow factor that that Raiden gave me. This constellation feels a lot closer to Zhongli C2. I think it's better than Zhongli C2, obviously. But it's much closer to when I had Zhongli C2, because it's, at the end of the day, it's just like a little bit of a boost for comfort, deal more damage, meaning you can ease off a bit on the, like, having to farm for better artifacts, because a lot of it gets made up for in these extra stats that you get, right? So her C1, most of these, like even the Archons, their C1 is like okay. I think Raiden C1 really leans into her her playstyle as like a burst carry unit, but Nahida C1 it just like fluffing up her kit. Zhongli C1 Zhongli C1 is like it's like barely better than Venti C1. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with Venti, but Zhongli C1 is like, oh, okay, sure. It's just a stepping stone to get to C2. But Nahida C1, pretty decent. Especially if you hyper invest, like continue to hyper invest into, is it this one? No, into her burst skill. Because if you level up her burst skill, you can see this. This gets a buff. So as you continue leveling, yes, I know Mahida's sitting at some insanely trash-ass levels for her talents, but you know, it's been enough, so I'd never bother to level up anymore. I know a lot of people, I get a lot of hate for this. It's like, dude, you're not even leveling your characters. Like, I don't need to, okay? Like, I'm paid to win. So, yeah, you can get boosts from this. So her C1 is pretty valuable if you're like hyper investing into, like, if you're already 10-10-10, yeah, like this constellation is gonna feel even better, because what it does is it reduces the requirement for having to have 2 of the same elemental typing to activate her passive, her burst passive. So it's up to you what you decide. But when it comes to the damage and the debuffs that this constellation gives, nothing in the game, like, what I'm basically saying is not, okay, that's a very bad example. I'm not saying nothing in the game needs it, because like nobody in the game needs any constellations. But what I'm saying is this doesn't make her feel any better utility-wise, damage-wise, support-wise than her at C0. Whereas Raiden C2 gives Raiden a whole new way of playing the game, but Nahida doesn't get a whole new way of playing the game. You play her exactly the same way she was at C0. It's just now there's more buffs. I mean, debuffs. There's more buffs and debuffs for your team and the enemies, right? You debuff the enemies through the electro reaction, and then you buff some of your team's damage. That's it. It doesn't suddenly make her like an insane on-field hyper carry. I mean, she can be on-field doing damage already, even like at C0. That's like the beauty of Nahida, right? She can be on-field, she can be off-field, she can, like, if you want her to heal your team, just slap that prototype Amber weapon on her. She can like fucking be a pseudo healer, whatever the hell you want. She can do it. All right, this Archon knows everything. All right, Archon of Wisdom, knowledge, whatever you want to call it, can do everything, can get the job done. Raiden, however, back in the day, when you first got Raiden, you can, at C0, you should be just playing her in like in Raiden National. That's pretty much it. Yeah, if you had like a high constellation Sarah, you can still try to play her as a hyper carry. It could work. Like you get Kazuha in here, get your Bennett in here, right? You have C0, but like that which means like you're not going to be able to burst as hard because you're not right. You're not getting as much resolve. Yeah, that's what it was called, resolve. But with the electro character resolve, blah blah blah, it stacks like much faster, much better. You can max it out with one rotation, and boom, you get that huge burst off. All of this stuff culminates her to having a stronger burst, right? C1, C2, and C3. But at C0, most people were just playing her in her like Raiden National, which was a good team. But look at Nahida. This woman at C0 plays in like 4 or 5 different comps, and she's like the centerpiece for all of them. You guys see my point? And at C2, that doesn't change. So at C2, she's still being played in all the same comps, just better. She's just better. So like you're not being limited to your options and variety when Nahida's at C0. The limit here is just the ceiling. Your ceiling is limited. Who gives a shit about ceiling, baby? When you are playing, when you are in the top 5 meta teams for Dendro, you're like, who gives a shit? Everybody needs me. So that's why Nahida C2 doesn't feel as impactful as Raiden, because when you get C2 Raiden, suddenly she gets access to like a couple more teams. She suddenly feels a lot better. Like you can bring her as a sole carry as long as you can cycle her burst skill efficiently. Go crazy. Like this woman can just straight up carry any team. Like you can pair any wacky ass team with Raiden and it'll work, because she herself is dealing millions of damage, like quite literally millions of damage. Well, maybe not millions, like 1 million plus damage per rotation. So it's like, who can't you run with this lady? You can run everybody with this lady. The role is inherently different for these two Archons. You guys have to understand that. That's why there's more stress and emphasis put on Raiden, because she's more of a damage dealer than Nahida is. Although Nahida deals a ton of damage, the way they deal damage is inherently different. That's why there was more emphasis. Like I keep saying, there was more emphasis put on C2 until Nahida came out, and that all went out the window. So it's just like a character can feel like Raiden did at C0 until suddenly another character comes along and just changes everything. I don't know, man. It took like a year for that to happen. It's crazy to think about that. Hmm. Okay. I see a lot of people asking questions. Is C3 Raiden worth it? Good question. So there's a great example, okay, for people who are still confused. The difference between C3 Raiden and C2 Raiden is kind of like the difference between C0 Nahida and C2 Nahida. I hope this makes sense. Because once you get C2 Raiden, that's it. She is accessible. You can play her however the hell you want. Main DPS, hyper carry, support DPS, burst DPS, whatever the hell, like freaking like I don't know, sideline support. Yes, I don't know what more. Like she basically, my point is she becomes all forms of DPS. She can play any form of DPS. She's fully accessible now, right? And C3 just raises the ceiling. That's it. You don't get any more flexibility out of her with more like with C3. It's just raising that ceiling. That's it. If you don't want to put in the investment, then that ceiling, like nothing changes. accept the stealing. That's it. That's the value. It's the same thing with Nahida. It's not like suddenly, oh my god, the fact that I have Nahida C2, now Nahida gets like 3 different teams that I can play her because now she's viable in them because, you know, I got access to some sort of... No. She was always going to be viable in those teams. It's just the ceiling. Just raises the ceiling a little bit. So if you're already like crushing content, you're like destroying content with your C0 Raiden or your C2 Raiden or your C0 Nahida, and you feel no pressure, you're like, oh my god, like what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing with myself. Right? Is it really worth it? Right? Because the question was by Showed Ahmed says, is C3 Raiden worth it? See, that's my question to you now. If you're crushing content with your C2 Raiden, with your C0 Nahida, you feel no pressure. You're 36-starring the Abyss. You're like grinding artifacts all week, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I get a small 3% DPS upgrade every 6 months. Is it worth it? Right? Sure, this is going to be not a huge, it's going to be bigger than 3% DPS upgrade. That's for sure. But see, now my question to you, does that sound worth it to you? Right? If like, because the people's answers to this question is going to be different. What, like a numerical, like for example, if you want a numerical, be like, okay, so Walrus, I'm a very numbers guy, right? Like how much boosts am I getting for the constellations, right? What is the difference between a C2 and C3 Raiden? It's 3 levels, talent levels on your burst skill. So let's say if we go level up, so it's like about what, like 40, is that 40%? Yeah, that's 40% on the initial hit. First hit, that's 5%, like roughly 5%. It's like roughly 5, give or take. I'm just gonna round it to like 5%-ish for here. So that's 3 levels, so that's like 15% on attack, and then that's 3 levels, so it's like what, a 15%? It's like, it's roughly, it's like a 15% DPS boost, very roughly. I'm give or take, maybe 15, maybe 20, but it's like between that mark. It's not like a 30-40% DPS. No. It's like a 15-20% between that range DPS boost. Do you need that? Like, do you need that? For Nahida, very similar. When it comes to Burning, Bloom, Hyper Bloom, blah, 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 20% of the times, you double your damage. Like 20%, right? So 20% of the times, you can double your damage. And then you also have, for Electro, you reduce the enemy's defense by 30%. So like, then the question really goes back to the people asking it, right? Do you value this kind of boost? And then of course there are constellations in the game like Hu Tao C1. Like, what the fuck does this do? if you like a meme that I always say to people is like, if you're playing on a 6-year-old phone with 20 FPS and 300 milliseconds of delay, and you get sweaty hands after 5 minutes of gameplay, do you think like right? Then your priorities in Genshin is completely different. You ideally want to go for like C0 Raiden, C0 Nahida, and play this team where you can like wipe your hands every 5 seconds and clean your screen every 10 seconds, and this team would still get the job done. Right? Priorities and value of constellation is very different. So when you guys sometimes are like barking at each other, being like, oh, Hu Tao is better, and the other person's like, oh no, Ayaka's better, and we're like, oh, it's like Raiden. You guys sometimes haven't even set your parameters. Like, what the fuck are you guys arguing about, right? Like, what devices do you play on? What's your preferred play style, right? Like, for example, on mobile, on the mobile phone, certain characters are just much better. Like, some people suck at aiming on the mobile phone. They may be like freaking Grandmaster or whatever the hell they like call you in Apex Legends, like Apex Predator on the PC, but then they suck on mobile phone. Playing Ganyu, they're gonna suck ass, right? And if somebody, like I said, like if you have a terrible mobile phone, you can't animation cancel properly on Hu Tao, you have to just let her finish her animation. Like, what do you want me to say? You just like maybe just play Ito. right? Maybe just play Ito, just like glue down the button for his charge attack and stand up and go get a drink or something. Get him to C6, glue down the button for his charge attack, press burst, press charge, just hold down the charge attack, maybe with some like you know those aluminum things that can trick the phone screen into thinking you're pressing it or some shit like that. Glue that down and you're good to go. Or just invest in C6 Yalan and trivialize everything in the game just by auto-attacking. Just press burst and auto-attack. Just, oh, look at this. So damn hard. People with different playstyles will value constellations very, very differently. All I can tell you is Raiden from C0 to C2 definitely gets more roles to play in, more positions to fill. Like, people would argue, like, oh, you can already play those positions. Yeah, you could, but not optimally. It leaves much to be desired. But once you get C2, she's like best in slot. That's the difference. It's best in slot. The Hida from C0 to C2 is just damage. It's the same like Raiden C2 to C3. Like, you can see Hoyoverse subtly like putting in these very, very, very subtle things. You know why they did this? It's because C0 Nahida is pretty much like already as versatile, if not even more versatile than C2 Raiden. Nahida is the crutch of most Dendro based comps. She is quite literally what everybody like leans on as a character. So by default, C0 Nahida already fills all the roles. So they don't need to make C2 Nahida fill more roles because she is a reaction based character. People play Nahida not because of her insane scaling, it's because of the dendro that she applies. It's a reactive incentive. It's the incentive here is because of reactions. So by default, at C0, she doesn't need more roles. She has access to all those roles. So, but what do people want then? A higher ceiling. We want to see bigger numbers. I want to just take my team to the next level. Okay, then get her constellations. Get her C2. That's how you're going to do that. For Raiden, though, she's a DPS unit with a unique ability as a universal battery, right? That's her gimmick. That's her thing. But at C0, nobody plays Raiden because, my God, I need Electro in my team, so I'm playing. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're playing Raiden either A, because of her universal battery, or B, because she deals good damage. Right? So that's the inherent difference. That's why you see the value between their constellations between C0s and C2 is different. But once Raiden fills her purpose as a multi-purpose, like a multi-rolled carry unit, suddenly her constellation just becomes utility. Because utility, like, increase the ceiling, doesn't matter. And quality of life. Baba, what are you doing? You want to say hi to chat? Okay, come here. Come here. Good girl. Let's show chat who is making that sound. My cat has gotten very big. You know, chat, I'm starting to have doubts that this is a cat. I think this might be a tiger. I think they sold me a tiger and told me that it's a cat. Can you meow? I've never heard you meow, actually. Can you meow? She's avoiding eye contact. I think she knows she's a sassy baga. Jabba. Jabba. Can you meow? Can you meow, Jabba? Anyways. Why don't you go, not play with your squeak toy? How's that? Does that sound fair? Can you not play with your squeak toy? You have so many toys. Why do you always choose the squeaky one? Okay, go. No squeak. Oh, okay. She wants rubs. She wants rubs. I'll give her rubs. Okay, but you know what? We'll just continue from here, right? So I hope people understand. I understand there's a lot of FOMO coming up for Raiden. I'm going to be making a couple videos, hopefully explaining this better. But after playing Raiden at C0 for like a good half a year, because I never got Raiden C2 from the beginning. I was like, okay, you know, Archon C0. I got her C0. I got her weapon. I was like, that should be good enough, right? So So yeah, but then I realized, okay, I really wanted to play. I really wanted to slot her in certain teams as the carry, but I just felt like I was wasting the potentials for other carries in the process. I just felt like other carries did the job much better. So I was like, and I had to bench her a lot of the times because I didn't want to play Raiden National. It was hella boring. Until I got her C2, and I was like, my god, this character just suddenly feels so much better. I unlocked her ability to play in those other teams as hyper carries, and she was outperforming a lot of the other units that I had, even though I already invested in them. So like, okay, this is just the stuff that I learned through spending money and getting these constellations. Nahida C2, I played her as C0, I played her as C2. I'm just like, okay. Mm, like I said, what if you not have other carries if she's a rider to them? Yeah. If I had no one else, I would play Rider National. I mean, I would imagine most people who started playing Genshin after Hu Tao and like the Big Three era had to rely on Raiden National to get them through the entirety of patch 2.0. They just had to. Most people, most free-to-plays. Am I wrong? Because that was the best team. I mean, that still is one of the best teams to play. It's a team that is close and dear to free-to-play hearts. Because even at C0, all these characters, like 3-4 stars, arguably like a free-to-play team almost. Like, it was just good and it was efficient. It got the job done. It utilized some of the best units in the game, so you never felt bad for investing into them. I mean, imagine investing into Goro. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Imagine investing into Goro knowing for a fact that this man will never, ever, ever see the light of day on any team other than with a Geo team, right? Feels bad. But when you invest into a Bennett, you're just like, my god, like, that's good value. Because Bennett is not exclusive. So investing in a Raiden national team, you're investing into multiple teams at once. Because Raiden Shogun also has the possibility of scaling out of just a Raiden national team. Xingqiu, without a doubt, he can be in certain freeze teams, he can be played in Hu Tao teams, he can be played, and the same with Xiangling. Incredible units overall, right? Xiangling has teams with what's the name, Tartaglia as well. So it's just like, of course that's gonna be the premier team, because not only is it a good team to use in the moment, it's also flexing and developing all the right units for the future if you decide to branch out. C2 Raiden with the catch deleted them faster and doesn't need a C6. This character at C2 is like already rivaling some characters at C6. Not the best when it comes to DPS, but rivaling some characters. And plus she's a universal battery, right? So let's go back to the meta discussion. Because here's the thing. I wholeheartedly believe Hoyoverse is like very confused right now, okay? They don't want to make characters like Hu Tao anymore. I think with the release, I think Yoimiya was the last time they tried. Last time they tried to work with somewhat traditional carry methods, and they realized, nah, it's not gonna work anymore. We're not gonna, cause look, starting from Raiden Shogun and onwards, look at Kokomi, look at Ito, look at Shinhe, look at Yamiko, Ayato, Yelan. Well, Yelan's kind of a special case. Tikanari, Sino, Nilu, Nahida, Wanderer. These, I mean, this is the order. Look at that. Starting, like, once Yoimiya came out, they just stopped with the traditional stuff. Like, all the traditional stuff. Like, how much longer do we have to keep going down this rabbit hole to come to the realization that Hoyoverse has, like, they've moved on from the traditional stuff. Like, none of these characters functions in the traditional method. Right? So, I just think Hoyoverse wants to develop an entire new set of playstyle. I think they're envisioning something new for the elemental reaction system. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I just think, or they're trying to develop like two different paths of playstyles and metas and reaction systems. There's the Dendro focus path, and there's the traditional path. And if you want to play the traditional path, you're going to have to hunt for some of these older characters. But if you're interested in the new stuff, you can always pull for the new characters. They don't even like function the same way as some of these older characters. A lot of the older characters are more simplistic as well. For playstyles, for constellations and stuff like that. But that's not to say none of these old characters can ever work with the new characters. A quick case in point being one of the oldest characters in the game, if not the oldest 5-star, works with one of the newest characters, new 5-stars, right? Having newer characters at times uplift the old characters is going to be a key in keeping a lot of the players happy. So the same thing with Faruzan also being able to lift up Zhao, right? C6 Faruzan. But of course it comes at a price. C0 Nahida, C6 Faruzan, all these characters can be utilized to build upon old units that have seemingly fallen off. Right now, I'm actually looking towards Hoyoverse to find a way to reincorporate Crystallize into the meta. Because, come on, chat. Do you guys, how many people in chat wants to see Crystallize do something like be more purposeful in the game? Type 1 if you want to see Crystallize being more purposeful. Let's say get a facelift, maybe a redesign, or a character like Nilu that can like give you super Crystallize. Press 1 in chat if you want that. Press 2 if you like, I don't care. Crystallize can like burn in hell. I don't give a damn about Crystallize. Because you guys see the potential of Swirl with just one set of artifacts, and look how far Swirl has carried certain game comps. It really just takes one artifact or one character, preferably artifact, but hey, characters can work too, right? That's like when we talk about meta and inclusion, literally that's the last piece of the puzzle. And I know Hoyoverse sees it. I know Hoyoverse sees it, because look at how long it took them to give Electro a facelift into the meta. Right? So, you know they know. They know that we know that they know, hopefully. And we know that they know that we know that they know. Do I need to keep going? So, it's not if. It's when. I'm fully convinced after seeing like the stuff they've been doing recently. I'm fully convinced it's not if they're gonna do it, it's when. And I think it's gonna be like the next time a huge like Geo thing is about to happen. Like get excited for Geo, because right now they can't really add Geo characters without solving this issue. Have you guys realized that? Have you guys realized this? If they do a Geo DPS, okay, you're gonna what? Power creep Ito? Oh, it's not as good as Ito? Yeah, I'm good. All right. Oh, you're gonna make a buffer? You're gonna give more buffs? You're gonna power creep Goro? You're gonna power creep Goro? Oh, you're not? Okay, I'm good. Skipping. Right? Oh, you want to do a support DPS? You want to do a support off-field DPS? Oh, is it going to be as hands-free as Albedo? You're going to power creep Albedo's off-field presence with a new Geo character? Really? Oh, you're not? You're not? Oh, okay. I'm good. Right? Okay, so you're gonna you're gonna make a shielder, a new Geo shielder. Oh, Geo shielding. Oh, amazing. You're gonna power creep. You get my point? It's never gonna happen. What could they possibly bring into the Geo category? It's just gonna, like, most likely, if they want to be lazy, it's just gonna be Ito. Like, I mean, it's just gonna be a DPS character, and it's gonna have to compete with Ito, like another option, and that's boring. Like, you know, like they know that we know that they know it's not gonna sell very well. So what can they do? Because a lot of these other elements, they not only could they lean into the characters and damage, they can also lean into the reactions. That's like the whole point of the system they've created, or else there would just be no reactions and everybody just does damage, right? But because they have reactions, they have synergies, that's how they are able to create multiple characters in the same element and sell them, market them. What can they possibly market with Geo? They even made a very unique Geo normal attack buffer. What if they make a Geo character that buffs attack speed? Like, I mean, sure, they could do that. They could just make a Geo character that buffs every category. A Geo attack buffer, a Geo attack speed buffer, a Geo crit buffer, a Geo crit damage buffer. They can keep going down this line, but these characters are not going to sell very well. There's no more slots in the team for Geo comps. You get what I'm saying? If you make one of those characters, there are oftentimes, like, then you're going to have to make it for non-Geo teams, and very few people want to play Geo characters in non-Geo teams. It's a huge pain in the ass, right? The only one right now that heavily utilizes it is Yoimiya. Where is Yoimiya, my girl? Yoimiya, with, I believe, Yelan, Yunjin, and Zhongli, is like the only comp left. Like, what's another comp apart from, like, pure Geo comps that runs Geo? And it's not even for crystallized. That's the lunacy of this. You're running two Geo characters on your team. One is to buff your attack damage. The other one is to give you a shield. You literally couldn't care less if crystallized exists. That's what I'm saying. If they release another Geo character, especially a Geo 5-star, you best believe it, they're gonna have to do something to crystallize. They have to, because that's how they're going to reintroduce Geo. That's how they're going to get you excited for Geo again. And I think with the Dendro, once they fully flesh out Dendro, this is going to be after they fully flesh out Dendro, meaning Burning, Burgeon, have like meta comms, or at least strong comms that people are playing. Dendro is pretty much complete, right? And from that point on, it's going to add variants to Dendro and not like new concepts. And that's when people are going to look to the next thing that, oh no, Dendro is done. What are we going to do? We have nothing to look forward to. Psych. Now you can look forward to Crystallize revamp. A new Geo character that comes into the game that re-excites players through Crystallize. Basically, that's going to be a new reaction because nobody plays Crystallize. Stop it. Stop it, chat. I know what you're going to say. Like, oh, but Walrus, I play Crystallize when I'm bored. And no, you don't. No, you don't. No, I refuse to believe. Dude, I can believe that people play this game just to fish, but I cannot believe that there will be people running Crystallize comps. Because Crystallize really brings very little, if anything, to the table. So, that's what I'm saying, okay? I fully believe, I now seeing what Hoyoverse did to Electro when it was like on the brink of collapse, like, okay, maybe that's like a little harsh for words, but seeing how big of a difference a single change to like Electro has become in the game, and of course now elevated through Nahida C2 and stuff, like even better. I have faith. I think that in the future, Geo can become a more integrated element into the game. Right now, we think of Geo more as like a support feature of characters, as opposed to actual synergy. When we think of Geo, the first thing that comes to your mind isn't synergy right now, and that's a problem for a game that revolves around its like I want to say somewhat deep reaction system. Ignoring one piece of this puzzle when you only have like how many pieces? How many elements is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it 8? I think you have 8 reactions, right? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, right? 7 reactions. When you're ignoring, like when you only have 7 elements and you're ignoring one of them, that's a huge piece of the potential that you are sealing off. And having Crystallize being like, because Crystallize can be as flexible as Swirl. You just need to find a way to integrate it with all the elements. Cryo, Hydro, Electro, Pyro. That's it. It doesn't react with anything else. So I look forward to it. And I think meta-wise, that's going to be the next thing that we can look forward to. I want it to be very universal. And get this, all right? Right now, HoYoverse is focusing on the new stuff, right? They're focusing on the Dendro meta and hyper carry teams, right? Look at some of the characters that have come out. It's just like mostly Dendro meta, kind of Dendro meta. This is like, you would think like, oh my god, can I play her traditionally? Nope. Not really. Dendro meta. This is kind of like a one-off spin-off. Actually, I would want to drop Scaramouche down to 4-star and raise Hazel to like play around with his scaling a little bit more and bump him up to a 5-star, because that's honestly how it feels right now. This was designed for the new meta. Like, look how many teams comps nowadays. Like, damn, if I only had an Electro healer. Well, here's your Electro healer. Here's your Electro healer. These were all for the new stuff. The last time a 4-star character that came out that existed essentially for a character that was previous released was Yunjin, in fact. This woman, when she first came out, she was basically slotted in for Yoimiya. So it was like, look at all these characters that have come out since. It's all for the new stuff. So I think the next time that we can get excited for like old characters and old synergies is going to be when Geo comes back again. Because when Geo comes back, Geo doesn't have any synergies with Dendro. And it's very difficult to think that HoYoverse is going to make a character that has no synergies with the Dendro meta and forcefully fit them into Dendro teams. I don't think so. So I think HoYoverse is going to use the new Geo character, a 5-star most likely, to revitalize Crystallize, while also kind of breathe some life into some of the older characters. Maybe characters now, like characters that still need a bit of help. Maybe Eula. Because let's be quite honest, like Superconduct is also kind of yikes right now. So seeing what they did with Kaching, maybe they can bring something back for Klee and Diluc. Like these two characters could use some help as well when it comes to feeling a little more impactful. I would say Eula, Klee, Diluc, these 3 characters probably are the ones that people have really ignored for quite a while. I mean, they don't have to, but if they do, then most characters in the game kind of feel somewhat connected to how they're played. Who knows? When it comes to meta, like your guess is as good as mine, especially if we're guessing like 2-3 patches, maybe 4 patches down the line. Like nobody knows what the hell's gonna go, like what's gonna happen. They could possibly, like, I think they're gonna continue developing their hyper carry comps for mono elements, but just elemental carry comps. Right now we have Electro in Sarah, because we have the buffer for Electro. We have Geo, we have Cryo. Where is Cryo? We have Shinhua for Cryo, and then we have Photozone Wanderer kind of for a Nemo. So that just leaves, I mean, Pyro, we have Bennett. Does Pyro count? Not really, I guess. But kind of. I guess Bennett is the Pyro buffer, isn't he? It's just he buffs attack and he gives Pyro damage at C6. Right? How much was he given again? 15%. That is a far cry from what the modern buffers are. But then again, he's a universal character. So, like, if you're gonna give the argument that, oh, Bennett is the Pyro Mono Team buffer, then that just leaves Hydro and Dendro, correct? Oh my god, what if Alhaitham comes out along with Yao Yao, who turns out to be a Dendro buffer, and then it just leaves Hydro? And then the Hydro Archon comes out, so then at the earliest timeline I can see for Hoyoverse to move back into like redeveloping old stuff is after the Hydro Archon comes out, after Fontaine. So that's like over a year from now. So that means we have to likely minimum wait over a year just to see any revitalization for old compositions. Because I don't think they're going to focus on, like, as they're still developing mono comps and elemental comps, they're not going to suddenly go back and like, oh, by the way, we're going to revive. They're not going to do that, because that's like, why? People are still going to be excited for like a Hydro hyper carry or whatever the hell, and then like a Dendro hyper carry. Are they really going to bring Alhaitham out with a Dendro buffer, though? So is Nahida a Dendro buffer? I don't think so. Because when I say Dendro buffer, I mean like their C6 is like, for when you deal Dendro damage, increase EM by like 100%, or increase EM by 200%, and like damage dealt, like crit damage dealt by 40%, or some weird crap like that, or 20% crit damage buff, and then a 200 EM buff, or some weird stuff. Like that's a dedicated Dendro EM buffer, meaning that you're going to be. But then you see the problem with that is Dendro is a reaction based element. So how are they going to make Dendro into a hyper carry element if it's a reaction based element? Dendro is very different from a lot of the elements, because every single reaction for Dendro is extremely important. Very, very important. Dendro characters themselves have very, very low scaling. And I think that's by design. It's because they were always designed to be played with another element. But that doesn't mean you can't play a triple Dendro and plus one flex, especially with Nahida on your team. It means you can likely play a 3 Dendro character comp with 1 flex unit. That could work, because you still have the reaction. So I think Hoyoverse might have to do a little bit of tweaking with that, but I definitely think it's possible. I wholeheartedly believe that Hoyoverse is trying to make a carry comp for every single element. We're just needing Hydro and Dendro. And after that, I think they're going to use Geo to revitalize some of the old stuff, right? Like I was saying, Eula feeling a little ignored. Klee, D-Look are just pretty much already half. They're already shopping for caskets at the Wanshin Parlor. Let's just say that. All right. At this point, they might as well. I think Hu Tao would give them a discount if they go as 2 and say they're father and son. Okay, that got really dark. Father and daughter. Okay, I'm done. Anyways, when it comes to modern stuff, a lot of people like give Dory a lot of shit, right? They're just saying like, okay, Hoyoverse has made this character like full of drip and she feels bad, but honestly, like you look at her constellations, it's just like, okay, I think people say Dory is bad, and it kind of became a meme to the point where now people think Dory is worse than she actually is. I wouldn't say she's terrible, but like there are definitely unique team scenarios where you can be like, okay, Dory can fit here. And that's like whatever you need an Electro healer. And trust me, if you want to play a lot of like the modern comps and you want to be flexible with the modern comps, having an Electro healer is pretty damn important in modern compositions. It's also because Nahida is so damn good at her job. She's essentially the best in slot in a lot of these teams. So then you kind of take up the slot of a support DPS. Or like a generalized support, reaction support. So you got your main DPS, you got your reaction support, And then you oftentimes want to run Viridescence if it's of the element of Electro, Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, whatever the hell. You usually want the fourth slot to be an Anemo Viridescence users like Kazuha to buff the damage, and then you're stuck. You're quite literally stuck, because if you want to deal more damage, you have to bring the Viridescence user, which means that you have no healer and you have no shielder, right? So. And especially for electro characters such as Sino, you ideally want a secondary electro character so he can benefit from the electro resonance, right? Everything just works together. Like, sure, you can always just bring Bennett, right? Like, oh, just bring Bennett. But then you have to be extremely careful how you swirl as well. So it's just like, it saves you a lot of hassle, and your Sino better have a cracked out energy regen stat, or else you're going to be struggling to cycle through his burst. So that's why, and then you have Kuki Shinobu and Dori, and suddenly it just feels like a no-brainer. Like, oh, just run one of them. Right? So it's like, there are times when these two characters feel irreplaceable. When Kuki Shinobu first came out, people said this character was ass cheeks. Right? So fast forward to now, a lot of people say incredibly useful. Like, the meta is ever changing. Hoyoverse can make whatever character feel desirable as they see fit. Fuzzer Channel says she was bad. Yeah, she was bad because she wasn't developed. And this goes back to the point where I was saying that Hoyoverse likes to release characters in their unfinished form. What I mean by that is, when Kuki first came out, we didn't even know what the hell she's supposed to be played in. Right? We didn't even know what why is she cutting her own health? Like, actually, till this day, we still don't know why the hell she does that. But now we can appreciate her a lot more after 1 patch, 2 patch, 3 patches. Like, after 3 patches after her release, we can start to see oh, that's what they wanted to do. This is okay. Kuki wasn't bad, just misunderstood. After you build her full EM, she was good. Yeah, but it's full EM at the time just wasn't realized as well. What are you trying to do with full EM back then? Right? EM comps and EM as a stat value becomes way more valuable when the meta starts to come to fruition. So it's just she was waiting to be well utilized. It's just that it took a little while, and some characters have kits, part of their kits that's been waiting for a year to be fully realized, and now that they are, we can't say anything because, okay, sure, problem solved, let's move on. Meta is not ever changing. National has been meta for more than 2 years. Well, certain things in this game, I believe, likely won't change. They're just gonna be the staple because Hoyoverse can't nerf it. Hoyoverse can't nerf it. They can't really counter it. I mean, they could if they really wanted to, but why would they do that? Because the reason there's gonna be staples in this game is because Hoyoverse wants there to be something that free-to-plays can always lean on. Right? Hoyoverse, because the second Hoyoverse seals off easily accessible free-to-play comps is the day this game dies. Because look how many people praise Hoyoverse for not involving power creep, for thinking of the casuals, the free-to-plays, and making sure there are characters and options in the game that are strong and viable for free-to-plays. Low accessible units. So it's just I don't see that ever going away because that's a staple in Genshin, and Hoyoverse cannot risk their reputation being tarnished by nerfing or removing national. But apart from that, things kind of come and go depending on Abyss iterations, and sometimes new regions introduces new monsters that certain characters have an easier time dealing with compared to others. And I can't help but think that that is, of course, done on purpose. Moving forward, we likely will get a sub-region in Sumeru. That's likely going to happen. It's going to introduce new monsters. How they get what HoYoverse is going to try to do with them, I don't know. Because usually these monsters bring new mechanics, right? New mechanics, new playstyles, new ways to play the game, utilize new comps, fun stuff for the most of them, right? Yeah, just like with Dragonspine, Chasm, and Kanomiya, exactly with that. That's like what they always do. We're gonna have a slow patch now. Hopefully by patch 3.4, we're gonna get introduced to a sub-region, which extends to 3.5. And then we have 3.6, 3.7, potentially 3.8 being slow patches. I'm gonna have to make a video warning new players at the end of like 3.5. If it's like a back-to-back expansion, subterranean expansion patch, at the end of those subterranean expansion patches, new players have no idea what the hell is coming for them. But if you utilize patch 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, and maybe even 3.8, if you utilize these 3 to 4 patches correctly, you'll be set up for success when Fontaine comes around. If you mess up your setup for these 3 to 4 patches, you will find yourself on your knees begging RNGs to help you win 50-50s. But for people who hunker down, play through the boring patches, oftentimes they'll be like very well rewarded for the drop of the new regions. I'm just saying it. Because filler patches is supposed to be a time for free-to-plays to regroup themselves. After you've just been bombarded from patch 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and then 4, 5, 6, 4 and 5, you've been like just lined up and just like HoYoverse has been siphoning from you for 5 patches, and they give you 3 to chill, relax, you know, apply some ointment in the places that you need it. Maybe repurchase your lube and get ready for the next round. I mean, that's a very gentleman thing to do. I would say, like, I'm just saying. Like, oftentimes you'll see people who complain about the slow patches are whales, because whales, you know, whales have, like, they don't have this problem. They don't need to like save. Like, they just like swipe. So whales don't care. Whales just keep wanting that adrenaline hit. But truly, the slow patches are for the free-to-plays. So just take it. Don't worry. I'm a warn the new players, because Genshin has probably, like, compared to this time last year, there's probably a good 20% of the players who started playing this game, maybe like 15-20% of the players, estimating that started like around 3.0. Like newer players. And I see more and more players quitting. I mean, it's not quitting, they're just being recycled by the new players. Basically, HoYoverse is like seeing the old people like refresh out. They're like, okay, I'm done. And then they bring in the new eggs, right? The new stars. So if you started relatively close to 3.0, maybe even like, what was it, 2.7, 2.6, even then, like, you don't really know, because basically for your first month or 2 in this game, it's like the honeymoon phase. So if you start in 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, you're not gonna even realize what the hell you just played through. You're gonna be like, wow, these are some great patches. Oh, I got hit with the 3.0 patch, amazing. Like, the slow patches are arguably the best time to start playing Genshin, because not only do you get to live through the most driest patches of Genshin through your honeymoon phase, you also set yourself up to prepare for the drop of the new region, which gives you enough resources. If you're like doing your research and you understand how this works, you save all your stuff, the new region drops, and then you're able to go and get like some of the best characters available in the game. Usually a patch before Like last time they released Kazuha, this time they released Yelan. So it just feels like there's gonna be a really good character that's coming up, maybe in patch 3.7 or 3.8. One of these patches are gonna drop a good character. So if you start in 3.5, you're gonna save enough to get that character, and likely you're gonna save enough to get the Hydro Archon at this point, right? It's a great time to start the game. That's all I'm saying. If you start dead set on 4.0, you're not gonna have resources to pull the Hydro Archon. You won't. Right? So that's all I'm saying. People who start during the slow patches are the real smart players. The real big brain Genshin players start in the slow patches because there's so much value there. Walrus, will you get into what? Dendro Kaching? What's that? Wait. Is Yao Yao so Yao Yao is Yao Yao a Dendro buffer? Wait, does she change her attacks to Dendro? Leaks? Oh, okay. Huh. That's interesting. What the fuck, Dendro Kaching? Okay, so it's a leak. Okay, now it's getting me. I mean, since I've read it, it gets me a little. It gets me a little. Like it gets my brain. Like my brain immediately went into like 100-meter dash. You guys know what I mean? Since I read it, my brain immediately just went for like 100-meter dash. Just be like, okay. So wait. But anyways, yeah. I digress. I mean, if you guys want to talk about potentials for next patch, here's my guess, right? I mean, I already released a video, but here's my best guess when it comes to Alhaitham and Yao Yao. I think Alhaitham has to be a damage-oriented unit. Okay, I know I'm not being very specific right now, but that's because I need to kind of get this. I need to see the characters so I know like what Hoyoverse already has and what they could do. So they have a character in Tignari that's like on field. He's more of like a quick swapped burst DPS, right? That's fair. He's not a sustained DPS. This guy's more of a quick swap burst DPS type guy. Which means the role for an on-field Dendro sustained DPS unit is still available. So that's what Alhaitham could be. It's like an on-field sustained Dendro DPS with infusion, all the whack like stuff that we know traditionally, like kind of like Ayaka, actually. Like Alhaitham could be like kind of like Ayaka, right? It's fair. Maybe has a mix of sustained on-field and a little bit of help from his burst. Who knows? Maybe his burst makes a shadow clone or some stuff that helps him deal damage, like more sustained damage. So I think either that or Alhaitham's gonna be kind of like Xingqiu. Where is Xingqiu? Kind of like Xingqiu, Yelan type deal. Still DPS oriented, but more off-field support-ish. But then he's gonna have conflicts in roles with Nahida. It's just like you can't have that many Dendro that's like off-field. I mean, you can, but ideally you don't want to, right? He could be the stepping stones towards a burning meta. Who knows? Maybe he's like the stepping stone towards burning, Burgeon, Dehia type stuff. Maybe Hoyoverse is already gonna like listen. If he comes out and I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to do, and he feels really weird and awkward and feels like he just doesn't fit into anything, I'm gonna call it. He's probably just gonna be like the stepping stone towards burning and Burgeon comps. Maybe, but it's more likely for Hoyoverse to make a sustained DPS on field for Dendro as Tignari fills the burst Now we have a sustained, then everything kind of fits very well. Then we have Yao Yao. Yao Yao is like, if Yao Yao is not a Dendro healer, that's just gonna annoy the hell out of me, because then you will have a Dendro buffer with, then Tignari will want Yao Yao, and also Nahida. That means that's a triple. Yeah, if Yao Yao is not a Dendro healer, you're going to end up in many triple Dendro comps. Basically, it's either Tignari, Nahida, and Yao Yao, or it's going to be Alhaitham, Nahida, and Yao Yao plus Flex. It's just going to end up like that. Which then, what I was saying before is like the Dendro dedicated buffer. Then Hydro would be the only comp that doesn't have a dedicated buffer. Which, so like, if that's the scenario, it makes it really weird, because then it makes Yao Yao difficult to use in like maybe future burning comps. I don't know, but maybe that's the way Hoyoverse wants it. Then just put more emphasis on Tignari and Alhaitham. Maybe that's not a bad idea, because then people would like, oh my god, that's really helpful for Tignari. You know, Tignari is going to be even more cracked. Alhaitham is going to be more cracked. And Nahida is going to be a central piece of those teams as well. Maybe that could happen, but a Dendro healer definitely opens more possibilities. So it depends on Hoyoverse. If they want more flexibility and they're like scaling the playstyles for the future, likely it's going to be a healer. If they want to focus on the now and push sales for like for Alhaitham and Yao Yao and stuff like that, to like for the people who are huge Dendro comp sims, like people who already invested into Tignari, or people who got spoofed by Tignari and now they're going to introduce a character that makes them even stronger, maybe that's going to be good for temporary sales. But if you're looking for the long picture, just make her a healer and make sure that she has some low constellations that has decent utility value, and go from there. But if you had to make me, like force me, put a gun to my head and be like, Walrus, make a guess right now, what is Tignari, what is Alhaitham gonna do? What is Yao Yao gonna do? I'm gonna have to say Tignari. Why do I keep saying Tignari? I'm gonna have to say Alhaitham is probably gonna be a sustained DPS, and Yao Yao is likely gonna be a healer. That's like that. That's gonna be my guess. Like final guess. Because anything else, it just feels out of character for Hoyoverse. It makes them look too money hungry. Does that sound fair? Because I know we all know Hoyoverse is like addicted to money, but not to that extent, right? If they were really that addicted to money, they would be milking the crap out of summer like bikini skins. They're gonna, you know what I mean? They're not that money hungry. They tend to like draw things out. Like they tend to like to draw things out. Look at like what they did with Kuki Shinobu and how they develop compositions. They don't give it to you immediately. Like, look at Yaimiko. They waited. Look how long they waited for like Yaimiko to finally feel like impactful in the game, and just be like, they're willing to wait months just to realize their vision for a character that's way in the past. So I don't see them milking us in the short term. I think Alhaitham's probably going to be an on-field sustained DPS, which fills a different niche than Tignari. And Yao Yao is going to be a healer that the Dendro compositions right now heavily lacks. So, yeah. Sparks comment says, yeah, my Tignari hits so hard with Nahida that I don't feel the need for Alhaitham. Well, then he's just gonna have to fill other niches. I mean, it's think of it like this. Yoimiya, Hu Tao, right? These are both DPSs. What about Ganyu and actually, wait a minute. Yeah, it's gonna be very similar to Ganyu and Ayaka. I think the difference between Tignari and Alhaitham is going to be similar to Ganyu and Ayaka. And because of that, Alhaitham mains are going to hate Tignari mains. Tignari mains are going to hate Alhaitham mains. And it's going to be the start of a new rivalry. Yeah, Ganyu was like Ganyu's damage is more centralized in like those single like short bursts of attacks, whereas Ayaka is much more sustained and spread out, right? And yeah, this is a great example. These two characters, and it's great. The duality, right? Like two females, two males, which is like amazing, amazing, great. The husbando war versus the waifu war, I love it. Great, chef's kiss. Hoyoverse, do it. Make the Tignari mains fight the Alhaitham mains, and they both give up two very different vibes as well. Right, Alhaitham is like that, like more sleek, whereas Tignari feels more meek. Is that the right word? Meek? What is meek definition? Yeah, quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on, or looks more submissive. Yeah, and Alhaitham is more dominant, more like outlandish, not outlandish, like more dominant, more like macho type feel. Has that kind of vibe to him. More assertive, more aggressive. Yet, the one that has a bigger outburst, meaning like the burst DPS. Oh, actually, that's a beautiful duality that Hoyoverse is playing. The one that looks more like quiet, reserved, more like, sleek, I guess, is the one that like has the bigger outburst, burst damage DPS, and the one that looks more aggressive, more like in your face, is the one that is like more sustained DPS. Interesting. Macho but still flat. I mean, there's no character in the game that has a good booty. Like the male characters, they all look the same, man. Like look at these dudes. Look at these dudes. I swear they all have the same nutritionist. They have the same diet. They have the same body. Like they all use the same fitness trainer. They all go to the same gym with the same plan, eat the same food with the same workout, and you can tell none of them squat. None of these characters work on their leg days. Zhongli? What do you mean, Zhongli? Maybe Venti. Venti beyond some of that weird stuff. I don't know what Venti does, but Venti's been able to kind of refine his body a little differently. Ito? What do you mean? Ito looks malnourished, bro. Ito looks like the protagonist of like a shonen anime in the first 10, 15 episodes. This is like before he. Ito looks like pre-time skip Luffy. Does that make sense? The man looks like pre-time skip Luffy. That's what that like. I mean, all these characters look like pre-time skip protagonists. We haven't had a single character that looks like built. Dude, Ayato's complexion, like borderline, looks like he's he's on life support, man. They don't look healthy. I'm just gonna say that. These characters and their body, they just don't look healthy. They look very malnourished. But that's just the male characters. The female characters, I feel, usually are actually, maybe not. What am I talking about? After looking at some of these models, I'm just like, what am I talking about? They look sleek though. They look like K-pop stars. That's what they look like. They look like they all look like K-pop stars. They all look like they're part of a boy band. Stack them together, and they're gonna look like they're about to drop an album on your asses. How about a character like the blacksmith? Oh, them muscles. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go. Let's go drool a little bit. Look at this. Not you, Timaeus. Let's go. Mm, mm. My god. Why couldn't Ito have these arms? Alright, let me switch to Ito real quick. Look at the way Yelan looks at him. Look at that. Find yourself a lady who will look at you the way Yelan looks at the blacksmith. Bro. Bro. Can you imagine if Ito came out with this model instead? Oh! My god. Like, look at the width. Dude, I feel like his shoulders is like double the width of my shoulders. Like, my god. Somebody give this man a vision. Look at the chest. Look at the chest popping out there. Oh. Oh. And look at mine. Look like, dude, what? What is that? You still use six-pack shortcuts. Dude, the reason this blacksmith is wearing a shirt is because if he wasn't, there will be a petition to make him a playable character. Please. Hoyoverse, can you release Wagner as a playable character? We will all C6 this man. At least all the ladies will. You guys don't see the difference until you make Ito stand next to him. And look at that. His arms are like twice the size of Ito's. Taking the Rise says, Varka better have abs and arms, otherwise I quit. Yeah, Varka probably should look like this. Just like, however, is just saying, Varka probably should have Wagner physiques. Jabba, what are you doing? Why are you Google eyeing the black? No, I'm just saying. This is in the game already. Like Hoyoverse, you have this in the game. The model has been here since 1.0. You can make characters look like this. You can literally give this proportion to Ito, keep all his physique, his like ash gray hair, his red makeup, and his body tattoo, and his his Oni outfit, his vibe, his earrings. You can keep everything. Just give him this physique. What's so wrong about that? This has nothing to do with censorship, right? You give him a nice tone, like buff body. Like the man literally swings like an ogre stick around with both of his arms. Why couldn't he have that? I don't get it. They better make playable enemy models for us. Varka better be like Capitano. Is Capitano the golem for the little girl, the puppet Fatui? The Harbinger? Like the one that has this giant hulk of a man like holding her up in his palms? Is that Capitano? Wait, who's Capitano? Oh, he's the one with the full face mask. Right. Right. I see. Walrus, what's the best female body in Genshin? Okay, the best female body in Genshin. Anyways, a lot of people would say Beto is up there. I need to be able to slide them and look at them from the side. I swear Hoyoverse made it on purpose, so you can't do that. You can only do that when you have the characters. Basically, they force you to pull the character just to examine them. They all look very similar, to be honest with you guys. I think the prime body physique is somebody who has good balance. Because remember, these are combatants, right? These characters are combatants. They're built for combat. So I'm gonna evaluate it based off of that. So I want somebody with good reach. Like they should have long limbs, meaning that they can reach further, giving them an advantage in battle. They should not have huge assets, if you know what I mean, because that's a hindrance in combat. So Hu Tao is very close to having a great combat physique, but she's just a little bit short. That's what I'm evaluating. I'm not evaluating like Eula is great, but I feel like her assets might just hinder her a little too much. I feel like when she swings, especially her weapon of choice is the great sword, meaning she has a wide range of motion. So her assets definitely will get in the way here and there. That's for sure. I think Yai Miko has great general physique. Height-wise, she's, I think, a little shorter. But I don't think her assets are as big. Actually, no, I think that's a problem as well. It's Jean? Is it gonna be Jean? Yeah, Ningguang, your assets are... At this point, they're not even assets anymore. They're just liabilities. Same with Beidou. What the hell? Huh. Nilou seems like she has, like, the golden proportion, I feel like. Maybe it's Nilou. Yeah, no, not good. Maybe Shenhe as well. People were saying Shenhe is a solid choice when it comes to combat physique. I think it's either Shenhe or Nilou. I'd probably give it more to Nilou. I think Nilou probably has... but Nilou feels more like Hu Tao. Yoimiya. Final answer. Yoimiya. I think Yoimiya has the best combat physique. She has a good range of, like, her reach is contestable to some of the characters with further reach. She's also tall enough, meaning that she, you know, she can bring her legs into the combat if necessary. Hu Tao was a close one, but she's just a little too short, and I feel like her reach just isn't as far. Nilou just felt a little too small. So I don't think her physique is gonna be well suited unless she plays like unless she has a very unique combat style that gives her an advantage in close quarter combat. But then it's gonna be difficult because she's much smaller than these other characters, so she doesn't have the physique to overpower them. Like if it comes to a grapple fight, like close range, oftentimes it ends up being a grapple fight. She's likely gonna lose to power, but I think Yoimiya can kind of compete with these other characters. Yeah, some of these characters, I think like Eula was just too much. Where is she? Yulo is just too much. Unfortunately, I had to take some points off because of her assets. Like I was saying, at this point, they just turn into liability. So, yeah, because it definitely takes points off for speed. Even though she has great reach and great power stats, her speed stats and flexibility stats probably just aren't going to be as high as some of the other characters because she has things that are hindering her mobility. Okay, so for the males in combat, I think Zhongli is a solid choice, but maybe just a little too long. Yeah, Kazuha, you're not the guy. I think Ayato looks like he's gonna get folded like an omelet. What's that saying again? Better uh you better start scrambling like an egg or get folded like an omelet. Ayato is definitely getting folded like an omelet. My god, I think even at this point, I think Eula can fold this man like multiple times. Yeah, he's getting bent over, slapped in the cheeks pretty much all day, every day. So male physique, I think one of the stronger ones, like in combat. I think Toma has a good balance of speed and muscle. Speed and strength is basically what I'm saying. Razor looks like the type to just like maul your face off. Like this guy has no technique. He has no really like physical advantages, but this man can tap into the latent powers of the human body for some reason. He's just wild as fuck. But somebody who is well trained with technique can probably neutralize him fairly fast. So a lot of people would say Kaya, but Kaya just feels like a weaker version of someone like Tartaglia, if you know what I mean. Like Tartaglia, this man just feels like he knows what he's doing. He has good reach, but he's not like too tall. I think Zhongli might just be a little too tall. Yeah, I think Zhongli's okay. They're like the same height. I know we have Ziox. Oh, I mean Zhao. Like you can have all the technique in the world, but if your punches don't reach people, if you're like I don't know 4'3", you're just gonna get stopped. So I'm sorry, Ziox. I mean, sorry, Zhao. Probably not gonna have the best combat physiques. I think Sino kind of falls into the same problem. Sino looks like just gonna get curb stomped even by Eula. Tartaglia? Is Tartaglia the way? I think Tartaglia might be the best. I think this man is perfect combat physiques. Like he's basically like a featherweight physique. You could watch any like MM not MM W no not WWE. What's that? MMA and stuff like that. He's like featherweight. Which is great. I think D-Look could also have a I think it's a toss up between D-Look and this man. I don't know why. Like this man should have the same physique as them, but like I don't know. I just feel like this guy looks like a seasoned Ed Sheeran. This guy looks like he's about to retire from being a boy band. Well, I don't know. These two just look to be the strongest physique wise. Stream goes from meta to meat real fast. I mean, we're talking about meta. Most effective tactics available. It's just tactics for what? It's all meta. Everything we talked about today is meta related. Now we're just talking about meta physiques. Ayato looks like Slender Man. Yeah, this man is way too pale and way too tall. Like and the man's diet consists of bubble tea and politics. I mean, like, what the fuck? You really expect this guy to fold you in a fight? Nah. Who would you rather be locked in a cell with? Including the females? or just the males? If it's just the males, I probably want to be locked in with Chongyun, because this guy looks like you can influence him very easily, meaning like you can talk no jutsu his ass. You know what I mean? Like if he really wanted to beat your ass, you can probably just be like, wait, I have kids, I have a family, you know, I have a lot to live for. You can probably talk your way out of it. You know, Kaya looks like he'd be the type of guy to like slash your tendons and be like, oh my god, what happened, bro? As you just crawl like backwards in fear with like both your leg tendons severed, and he's just like, oh, here, let me help. Like I can help you. I can stitch you back up, bro. Same with Scaramouche. This man just gives off like psychopath vibes. Like both of these guys give huge psychopath vibes. I do not want to be stuck in a cell with Kaya and Scaramouche. Razor looks like he will just Razor looks like he probably will get claustrophobic and go on a rampage. I'm just saying, like for a guy who grew up like in the wild, you lock him in a cell, this guy's gonna go crazy. And yeah, no. Hazel will probably never talk to you. He'll probably sit in a corner and never talk to you. Ever. It'll be pretty much like you're in a cell by yourself. So if you enjoy the peace and quiet, you don't like conversing, talking to people, this man might be good. I think Chongyun is good because the man will at least talk to you. Like you guys can have conversations, you guys can talk about life, you guys can talk about interests, you guys can talk about food, anything. Like this guy looks like he'll talk to you about anything, and he's very gullible. You can trick him. All right, I'm thinking about survival here. Toma looks to be kind, but I think all he's gonna have on his mind is how to escape and get back to his and get back to serving the Kamisato clan. So he's probably gonna do some dumb shit that gets both of you in trouble. You're gonna get punished, even though you didn't do shit, but they're not gonna believe it because like you guys share the same cell. So it's like he did some crazy shit, so you had to be in it. Even though they can't find things to pin on you, they're still gonna punish both of you. So no, this man's sense of duty and his lack of remorse for the problems he causes to the people around him probably is going to be, he doesn't know me, so he's not going to care about me. Shinchu's too much of a smarty pants, if you know what I mean. This man just feels like a bit of a know-it-all. He's a rich boy. There's going to be a high chance that he gets let out here scot-free, and you're going to be stuck with some other random dude that you have no control over. So let's say you freaking get Scaramouche waltzes in here right after Shinchu, you're fucked. You're done. All right. So you ideally want somebody who's going to be stuck in here with you, and they can't leave. So Shinchu, very high likelihood that he's going to get bailed out by his rich dad. So and then you're stuck with someone else. Kind of pointless. Tignari kind of feels like he, like, I don't know, like this man's kind of crazy. I feel like he's gonna like make some weird potion or some shit. Like he's gonna have something cooking. You just don't know what it is. And neither does the guards. He's gonna be put on like some sort of like alert or something. Or one day you're gonna wake up and this man just somehow escaped. He like rotted something through the wall or something. He blew it up. And this man's already gone, didn't even tell you about it. You get caught by the guards, be like, why the fuck is there a hole on the wall? Where's Tignari? And you're like, I don't know, man. The man was like making potions and I really don't know. Like I was asleep. They're not gonna believe you. You're gonna get severely punished for it, and the man's not gonna even come back for you because he just wants to get back to the forest. So yeah, no. Venti could be interesting. Dude's an alcoholic, but he's going to go into severe withdrawal because when you consume gallons of alcohol on a daily basis and suddenly you cut the supply, the man's going to be like scratching his neck. He's going to be like sucking on his toes. He's going to try to be like drinking your piss or some shit. Like he's going to get really weird just due to withdrawals. and you're gonna basically be stuck in a cell with an alcoholic, but like minus the alcohol, and you guys know how dangerous these people become. At least in the short period you're with them, they become completely whack, out of control. They start shaking like involuntarily. They spit foam from their mouth. It's gonna be an absolute nightmare for the first like couple months dealing with this guy. He's not gonna be fun. It's not gonna play music for you. If you guys think like, oh, but Venti's gonna soothe my soul, he's gonna like sing lullabies. Really, yeah, no, you're gonna be hearing him gagging on his own fucking saliva for like the first half a year when in the cell with him. And if he survives past that, maybe you guys can be a good sub. But why would you deal with Venti when you got Chonggun, who doesn't have all these problems? I'm just saying. Yeah. Bennett. What do you want me to say? Like the frickin' bunk bed is probably gonna have a like. Okay, here's the thing: if you stay in the same cell as Bennett, you should get the top bunk, because if you get the bottom bunk, something's gonna happen to that bunk bed. Maybe one of the screws were loose and the whole thing's gonna fall apart. Bennett's gonna, if you sleep on the bottom, you're gonna get crushed. Bennett's gonna be on top. He's gonna fall down. And be like, oh, so unlucky. Why did my bed fall apart? And you're just gonna be dead. So, I mean, if you think that's sweet release, go with Bennett. Because this guy is, yeah. Bro. Yeah, this is like the same situation with Xing Chu, but, like, I think this man is going to find a way to fight his way out of his cell. You can choose to go with him, but that just significantly increases your risk of becoming an actual criminal. This man has the power and influence to probably not get caught afterwards. You're like, and you're basically at the beck and call of this man. And if you think he's gonna show mercy to you and help you out just because you guys shared a cell for a night, sure, be copium and think of that. But remember, you're just you. You're not the main character. You're not the traveler. You're just like Bob from like Ohio. So I'm just saying, like, why would D-Lo give a rat's ass about you, right? So your best bet is when he tries to escape, he beats up all the guards. You just don't move, stay in your cell. You're not about to raise your sentence because of some maniac Batman wannabe. So let him do his thing. But then the flip turn is when they come back, guess what? They'll be like, where the fuck is D-Lo? Why are all these guards passed out? Why is the lock picked? Why are you naked? Right? I don't know. It's just like all these things you can't explain. You're gonna just get punished for things you didn't do again, so you probably don't want to share a cell with D-Look. How did this guy end up in a jail cell? If you end up in a jail cell with Ayato, I would start questioning if this man is the one who like orchestrated the whole fucking thing, and he's just in here and he wants something from me. I'm gonna be extremely paranoid around him. Be like, there's no fucking way they locked up a fucking Kamisato clan member with me. Like, no way. You want something from me? Just ask me what it is. Just don't go about this roundabout bullshit. Being like, oh, I'm trapped in here with you, so we're like jailmates and friends, so you're gonna tell me your whole fucking life story, and I'm gonna extract whatever info. Just ask me, bro. Like, you don't need to go about this convoluted bullshit way to get information on me. I'm a soft egg to crack. Like, I crack under pressure. I crack, like, when people look at me the wrong way on the street, I'll be like, bro, okay, I ate the last ice cream. You don't need to do this, Ayato. There is no way Ayato is locked in a jail cell with you unless he wants to be there. Just remember that, people. If you ever get isekai into Genshin and like Ayato is in a jail cell with you, no, he's there because he wants to be. Okay, so Tartaglia, very interesting. Could be a good choice if you beg if you beg him to get, if you want to join the Fatui. This could be like your top option. I think Tartaglia would be like, sure, I'll bring you back to the Fatui. Oh, here's the paperwork. Here, sign here. Here's the contract. Yeah, like no rights, no freedom. If you die while you work, not our problem. Yeah, just sign here, and we'll email you a copy. We'll pigeon you a copy of your contract, and you're a Fatui member. Like, if that's what you want to be, sure, like share a cell with Tartaglia. Marcus Bullocks says, if you fight me, bro, You think he's gonna give you a position in the harbingers? The man barely squeaking in himself. You're not gonna be a harbinger, baby. You're gonna be one of the underlings. You're gonna be like Scaramouche's footstool. That's what you're gonna be. You're gonna be one of the you're gonna be the doctor's guinea pig. That's what you're gonna end up being in the in the Fatui. I ain't about to fuck with that. That's what I'm saying. So far, I think my man Chong Yun has been the most solid choice of them all. Where were we? Okay. Yeah, Tartaglia, if you're a Fatui simp, sure, go with Tartaglia. He'll probably hire you. I'm just saying. He might even make you, like, in his Fatui thing, so. I mean. I think Zhao is probably the top 3 worst guys to share a cell with. Listen, I'm just saying, this man will probably elevate single-handedly. This man will somehow find a way to elevate whatever sentence you have, whether it's theft, burglary, freaking like whatever the hell crime you committed. This man will find a way to do some shit to elevate it to death sentence. Like, this man probably, or he will be the one to deliver death to you himself, right? I'm just saying. Like, I'm just saying. Like, you're probably not gonna make it past, like, past the night. So I'm gonna murder you, use your bones, turn it into a key. Actually, maybe that's Scaramouche. But I'm just saying, like, Zhao doesn't seem like the type of dude. I think he, like, if you start talking to Zhao, he's gonna suddenly say, like, repent. It's like, bitch, what? Repent. Just stabs you through your chest. Yeah, I've done too much fucked up shit to share a cell with Zhao. I can't. I'm like, yeah, like, he's gonna put on this mask 30 minutes into to our self-introduction, and I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, what did I do? Yeah. So no. Kazuha. Here's the thing about Kazuha, right? Like, I don't think he's gonna do anything to you. And sure, you guys even might become really good friends. But he's gonna be very unpredictable. He has things that he wants to achieve. He has strong convictions. He has like goals he needs to accomplish. He has like a purpose. So like, even if you guys become close friends, nothing will ever really happen. Nothing will come out of it. Sure, like, you guys might even escape together. But once you're out, like, he's gonna go his way, you're gonna go your way. If this is an anime, you're gonna be like, oh, Kazuha, let me join you on your journey. But in reality, you're just gonna be like he's gonna be like, all right, we're gonna make our journey west. We're gonna be traveling to, like, and then you're gonna be like, yeah, let's go. And after about 2 days of travel, finding out this man sleeps upside down, like, in trees, like, you guys have, like he siphons water from, like, tree barks and just drinks it. He eats cockroaches. You're not going to be able to keep up with this man. I'm just saying, this man, like, lives in the wild. He's in exile. He survives off of scraps. What about you? Yeah, sure, you guys got out of the jail cell together, but what now? What are you going to do now? You can't do shit. You can't keep up with this man. You thought this is going to be an anime, because in animes, all you guys see is, like, when they're having fun together. Oh my god, let's bathe together. But you guys don't see the time when they're freaking starving, walking, like, for 3 days in a row with no water and having to eat like fucking like donkey dong for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, you guys don't see that. That's what you're gonna be living life like with Kazuha. Sure, once in a while he's gonna be like playing some music, like writing you a haiku and shit. But like, you're gonna be so you're gonna be like so delusional at that point from what's that called? Like when you lack water from dehydration. Like, yeah, people, remember, you're a side character, bro. You are a side character. Like, I think at the end of the day, before you guys even make it to Mondstadt or wherever the fuck this man's going, you're gonna end up getting buried by him because you just died from, like, food poisoning or like allergies. You know, like, let's be honest with you guys, probably 20% of people watching this live stream have some sort of weird ass allergy, and you're not gonna even know it, and you're gonna eat some shit, and you just like die, like, don't have your EpiPen. Like, sure, Kazuha is a cool guy. He'll take care of you. He'll like even like he'll give you an extra portion of donkey dong to eat. But hey, like I'm just saying, you're not gonna be able to keep up with this man. So don't even try. Right? Stick with Chongyun. Once he gets out, guess what? He's going home, going back to Liyue. Right? Go with him. Guess who's in Liyue? Zhang Ling. All right, best cook in the world. So you're gonna be well fed. You're gonna have a place to sleep. You're gonna be enriched by the culture. You're not have to fucking get chased down by like Raiden subordinates or some weird stuff. I don't know what Kazuha's up to. He might be like traveling the world or something like that. Yeah, stick with Chongyun. Have a couple more here. Male characters. Wow, 4 more. Zhongli. Hey, actually, Zhongli might be a pretty decent choice. But again, the man's literally a demigod, so you can't keep up with him. If you can't keep up with Kazuha, you're not going to be keeping up with Zhongli. He got connections that you can only dream of having, and he probably will feel responsible for getting you out of there or something, but he's not going to give a shit afterwards. You're going to be on your way, and he's going to be on his way, right? And there's no way he's going to let you follow him, so because, this guy's full of secrets, so he's like, no, just go do your own thing. If you keep walking that way, due east, for 6 days, you'll find civilization. So good luck to you, and goodbye. So yeah, goodbye indeed, Zhongli. Not the top choice. Albedo will probably, this man will probably concoct some sort of weird potion and melt the walls or some shit, and he'll be gone. Like, this man will just be gone. You can't keep him trapped. And you'll have to follow him. He's basically like Kazuha, but even worse. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need nutrition. All he does is draws and studies alchemy. Honestly, this man won't give a rat's ass about you and your survival. He'll probably wait until you're dead and maybe do some sort of weird ass experiment on you. I don't think Albedo is a very smart choice to share a cell with. This guy has no compassion, or barely any, close to none. All he cares about is alchemy, and last time I checked, you ain't no chemistry expert, and you probably barely passed your chemistry classes, so Albedo is going to be very disappointed in you. The only thing you're going to be able to converse with him is like, oh, I'm from another world. We have this thing called a periodic table, and there's like some fucking elements on it, and we made this bomb through like some uranium and some shit. And he's going to be very interested. He's going to ask you a couple more questions, and you're going to be like, I don't know. I don't know. I failed chemistry. So, and he's going to be very disappointed. But apart from that, hey, good. Goro. This might be a good choice as well. I think Goro has like the chivalry and the camaraderie, and in the end, you can always go back with them to the Revolution Army, or like whatever the hell they are now, the Liberation Army, and then you can meet Kokomi. So if Kokomi is like your kind of, but remember, you're a side character, all right? I keep having to remind you guys aren't the main character. Just because you meet Kokomi doesn't mean she's gonna like give you a hug or anything. She's gonna be like, cool. Like, if you even meet her, you end up just like under Goro. He's like the commander, and then you never meet Kokomi. The only thing you'll be seeing Kokomi from all the way at the back when you guys are lined up to do your morning drills. Forget it. Maybe not. I'd rather go live in Liyue and eat food made by Xiangling. Bro, this guy's gonna be trying to recruit you the whole fucking night. Like, he'll never shut up. He'll not stop talking about himself and his achievements. And to be honest, not trying to be mean, but like, you don't even got cool girls in your gang. Like, you got like, what's her name? Cookie Shinobu, but the Cookie Shinobu don't give no shit about you. I'm sure as hell she's not gonna give a shit about me. Like, I'm just saying, yeah. And like, You ain't even that charismatic. I'm gonna be honest, dude. Like, you ain't even that charismatic. But he seems to be the guy that is very into like brotherhood and stuff. If he breaks out or the Arataki gang comes to save him, if you've been talking to him for a little bit, I'm pretty sure they'll bring you with them. They're not gonna force you to join, but they're still gonna leave you somewhere. Be like, you're gonna be like, you know what, I want to go my own way. They'd be like, you know what, we respect your decision, and they're gonna drop you off in Inazuma, and then you're on your own. So basically, it's join them or die. So, and then you have to join them. Now you're part of the Arataki gang, doing some weird shit. Like if you guys want to be like bad boys, like maybe you could. But honestly, I think Chongyun is the win here. I think Chongyun is the best dude you can probably share a cell with. The man seems very nice. He seems like he's not gonna be very on guard. So yeah, like he's a cool kid. And at the end of the day, I think he's gonna make sure you're taken care of. He has good connections, right? You can use his connections to get close to Xingqiu. Once you get out, maybe you can land yourself a job. Like the Xingqiu will ask you, like, oh, like who are you? Like, oh yeah, I shared a cell with Chongyun, right? Like we used to be cellmates. And he'll be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, and it's like, yeah, but because of my criminal record, I can't get a job. And he'll be like, oh yeah, don't worry, I'll hook you up. And then you have a job. Hopefully you can get some rent, meet some Liyue girls, and maybe dine with Jiangling, get to know them a little better, and you just get integrated into Liyue. What's not to like about that? Play card games with Sino in the cell. You will not be playing card games with Sino in the cell. Sino is going to be finding a way to break out of that cell. You can ask him to hook you up with Auntie Shenhe. Yeah, you can get to know Shenhe a little better through Chongyun. I think Chongyun's a big win here. You need to find a way to somehow end up in Liyue, because I think Liyue is like the best city to live in. Mondstadt feels like there's too many steps. Liyue is like just culturally the best. And then Hu Tao will kill you. No. You do not go near Wangshen Funeral Parlor unless you have business. Do not, and I repeat, do not get near Wangshen Funeral Parlor unless you have business, because otherwise you might get promoted to a customer. Yes. That's it, people. That's everything. Thank you so much for joining me on the live stream. I know this conversation today kind of went everywhere, but it was fun nonetheless. I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. Yeah, enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. Don't take this game too seriously, people. Don't take the things people say too seriously. I know we oftentimes disagree on certain things, but you know, just let it slide. Let it slide. All right. Thank you so much. And yeah, till next time, I urge y'all to stay safe. Peace. And bye. See you Saturday. Yeah, see you Saturday.